A little bit of snow coming out of the sky. Out of this blue sky. Saw it in the backyard, but it's all association with this little shower. I got 3 planes overhead, one kind of obnoxiously loud. And I'm hoping for some snow tomorrow. The storm that was responsible for all that chemtrailing, that intense trailing off the west coast the last couple of days, is now begun to stretch out and move inland. If it stays too stretched, we're not going to get anything. If it remains some kind of integrity, we'll get a little precip out of it. And there's the rest of the snow shower. Just up the valley. That's it. Just a little bit coming out of the sky. Look to the west. You see some trails. 3 right there. 1, 2, 3. Not very persistent ones, but they're there. And then another one right up there. So we'll see what happens. Some snow would be nice. We got all kinds of wave, thin wave clouds right in through here. So my debate is which camera to put in the window, east or west. I think I'm going to go east for a little bit and then I'll swing it west. Good morning, guys. And here goes the smudging out of our beautiful blue skies. Trail after spreading trail after spreading trail. As this storm is stretched out and eventually advanced into the Rockies. And we just have this mess with thick trails up in that direction. I wanted to catch this little guy coming in here. Just there meeting the end of this other trail. Making the triangle. Just perfectly crossing. Where this bottom one disappears, this one ends. And so, this is what it's going to look like. So less and less sunshine over the course of the day. And we'll see if we get any snow tomorrow. The mountains are 71% of normal snowpack, so we could use the water, especially if temperatures are going to be above normal. In fact, 15 to 20 degrees above normal after this storm tomorrow. Then we've got to have water. We've got to have water to support the plant growth, the reservoirs and stream flows. We've got to have the water. Nice little bend in that trail there. And then the clouds here in the hairy, we've torn you up mode, rather than the healthy look like this cumulus. These have all been iced out, where we have showers and virga reaching down from the bottom, which cools the atmosphere, and also the top are going hairy as well, indicating there has been some impulse destroying them. All right, I'm in the street. Gotta go. It swings. I'm not gonna be able to keep it. There's this trail. Yeah, they're thick. I need to get behind the tree. There's another one right in there. All right, I got mail in my hands. It sure is turning. So we have this big trail here. Nice spread, huge spread. That's worthy of a mark. And then this guy did this whole arc around the bottom. And then this guy was a pink trail, and funny how you would expect it to where the cloud is already condensed, the cloud is forming, you would expect the trail to persist, and yet it's not. So this guy's coming along, and he may be on the other side of the cloud, so I can't really see his make, at least not through the viewfinder here. But you see the rippling. It's pretty fine scale. Then here's the larger formation that he's just running up the gut of. I've got time lapse going in this direction, so it should be a fairly rich day target-wise. On up to the north, got a nice stripe there. But he's just, he has this cloud, had all these ripples coming up this way, and they faded somewhat. There's still some here, but there's been a disconnect. Well, funny, right through here, and then it's been a disconnect. All right, look at this one. Cloud right there. Right little X. I mean, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Throw across right through the middle of that previous trail. It's all about geometry, guys, and organizing the wave patterns that are coming in ahead of a storm so you can shape the jet stream to dictate that the weather does what you want it to. How that chemtrailing plays into the development of this storm and its eventual track into the Four Corners region will largely be determined by this bubble of high pressure that's being built against it. Above it, how quickly it expands out will determine the pressure put on this lower part of this jet stream, the subtropical part of this jet stream, to influence this storm's eventual southern track. And this will then play into what kind of an event as it gets out of this cold eastern mean trough kind of gets drawn into it. So we begin to see the storm winding up. These are curious out here. So there's likely to be serious chemtrailing Tuesday morning, every bit of 1,000 miles off the coast of California. We'll watch for that. But as this storm finally lifts out of eastern Canada to the northern Atlantic, then this storm that we've been watching the chemtrailing happen for the last couple of days begins to take shape. And so its path into the southern states, its speed through here, the amount of moisture it comes through, and how compact it is or how focused the vorticity in the lift is will determine whether this becomes a Gulf coastal states or southeastern U.S. severe weather event. Because by then we are decidedly into the first week of April, and we are into severe weather season. So, how this storm is swung out, picked up by this big, cold eastern Canadian trough, was determined out here in the Pacific by another weather engineering arrangement between whoever's doing it and Mother Nature. And so things that happen big usually have minor impulses or major impulses, but subtly so each time, well upstream. Well, the storm approaching, getting a little bit closer, and the rippling becoming a little more pronounced. We still have a shit ton of planes up here flying. Probably a Southwest. The bulk of the offenders today have been dressed up like Southwest flights. And of course, for years and years and years, just about every airline that's up there has had their paint schemes hijacked and used as disguised mechanisms to pull this operation off in plain sight. Look at this jagged nature of this cumulus cloud, completely effed up. You can see the stripes as the waves are compressing, and yet there's this other wave pattern moving across it. Knots there. It's just this whole geometry that's in these clouds. So there's our plane, and I'm going to zoom in. It's going to go right, very close to the sun. Kisses the end of this previous trail, and you can see the shadow below. So this plane right now is above this deck of clouds, but not by very much. So it's one of our 2-engine jobbies, Southwest 737s. That's all they fly. Then you can see the wave pattern in the background. Look at all that. So, break in the pattern, and then the ripples are running this way here. And so again, he caught the very tip of that previous trail. So there's just all kinds of geometry that's going on up here this afternoon as this storm approaches from the west. If anybody doesn't believe our weather is wholly, and I do mean wholly, an engineered event, then all you need to do is spend a day out in the sky watching all this happen. So here he goes, hitting the end, and almost parallel to the shape of the termination of this previous trail. It's just kind of fascinating, the precision of the geometry that these computer-flown planes are displaying. Nobody on board, no passenger has the time for these pilots to go willy-nilly from here to there, darting into different geometric patterns in the sky. This isn't going to happen. These are robotic planes. That's all there is to it. They're robotic planes, you know, and Lockheed Martin and Boeing and all of these aerospace industries, there's so much money on the table to participate, to be a good partner. And so they are. And so they're feeding at the trough. If this nation had to pay for these programs with its treasure, with its gold, then this stuff never would have happened. We would have run out of money ages ago. But as long as we've got faux money to play with, this stuff happens.